I don't need to explain what is a writer's block, do I? Basically, you are at the beginning of an art project and you don't even know how to start, or you are in the middle of an art project and you don't know how to continue. How do you deal with the writer's block? I'll tell you how. If you have seen other videos on this topic, you will see that they always tell you the same two things that I don't really like. They either tell you that you need to put limitations on your options so that you have more or less a plan on what you want to do on your art. So if you are trying to make a song, you have to choose the scale, you have to choose what are you going to talk about, what kind of rhythm you want to do. So that way you basically come up with a plan. I think that is an okay advice. I think it does help you approaching your art with a plan, but because it involves setting up limitations for you, to me it sounds limiting. The other advice they give you that I really don't like is that you have to move on from the project that you are stuck with right now and do another project to free up your mind, and whenever you feel ready you will come back to the original project, and that is supposed to make it easy for you. It won't. That is not fixing the problem, that is just avoiding the problem. You are literally doing a different project. So I really don't like that one. I want to give you a real method, a real practical way to deal with the writer's block. First, I want to tell you that there are at least two types of writer's block. There is a technical writer's block, and there is the other more esoteric type of writer's block that I couldn't come up with a name for. The technical type of writer's block is really simple. Basically, this one happens when you simply don't have enough practice or enough experience or the correct method to translate what is in your head and make it into art. To fix this type of writer's block, simply you have to study more. I always remember when I was at music school, I would come up to my teacher with a song that I couldn't continue. And my teacher would be like, did you try doing this? And he would play something on the piano, and it would happen to be the thing that I was trying to do. I would ask him, how did you do that? And he would tell me, well, I have studied more. So yeah, if you are stuck in your art project right now, first ask yourself, have I studied enough? Is there a technique I don't know yet? Just practice more. It will help you to not get blocked as often. That was the technical type of writer's block. But now let's talk about the real one. To deal with the real kind of writer's block, there are two things that I want you to keep in mind all the time. The first one is, it is too hard to do exactly what is in your head. And the second one is Parkinson's law. Work extends to the time allowed for it. Let's talk about the first one. It is too hard to do exactly what is in your head. If you have ever finished any piece of art, I know for sure you will agree with me that what you ended up with wasn't really what you had envisioned when you were just making it. This is completely normal at any level of talent, at any level of expertise. You can ask the most talented, most experienced artist in the world. You will find that none of them can really translate what is in their head as precisely as they wish they could. I am planning on making a video explaining exactly why this happened and how this happened and how you could deal with this. If I made it already, you will find the link somewhere. If I haven't made it, I'm sorry, I guess subscribe or something. For now, I just want you to understand that trying to do exactly what is in your head, it is just too hard. You have to approach the process of making your art already knowing that you probably won't be able to do exactly what is in your head. I want you to understand that when you are blocked, you are not blocked because you run out of ideas. You have ideas. It's just that the ideas you are coming up with are not the ones you want. When you get stuck, when you feel blocked, in reality you are dealing with your sense of perfectionism. You have some beautiful idea, some beautiful art in your head, and when you try to do it, it doesn't end up what you thought it could be, so you feel that it is wrong. But it isn't really wrong because in reality it couldn't be correct in the first place. It is a weird thing to think about, but trust me, it is just too hard to do exactly what is in your head. This may feel discouraging because it feels like you will never do the art that you thought you could do, but not being able to do exactly what was in your head doesn't mean that the art you end up with is bad art. If you have ever finished a piece of art, I want you to go look at it and tell me that you are not proud of it. You can still make beautiful, great, magical art even if it is not what was exactly in your head when you envision it. So keep that in mind, please. The other point, work extends to the time allowed for it, is more simple. Basically, if I give you 3 months to do me a piece of art, you will give me a piece of art in 3 months. But if I only give you 1 day to give me a piece of art, you will give me art in just a day. Work extends to the time allowed for it. It feels like time is a really big factor to make good art. But if you take in consideration all the other factors that can make great art, time ends up being the least important factor. You have to take in consideration all your experience, all the practice you have done, how creative you really are. There are a ton of factors that make good art. Time is just one of it, and trust me, it ends up being not as important as you think it is. Now that you know what is causing your writer's block, I want to give you an actual method to deal with it. Would you believe me that there is already a well-developed technique that deals with all the things I have talked in this video? It is called improvisation. To see how effective this technique is, just look at the masters of improvisation, the rappers. You have seen rappers. It's like magic. They actually make art on the spot. If you ask a rapper how they do it, you will see that they cover all the things I have talked about. They will tell you that first you have to practice and study as much rhymes as you can. This covers the first thing I told you about the technical kind of writer's block. You have to study a lot. Then after you have studied enough and you feel ready to give it a try, they tell you that you have to just go for it. And you have to go for it without caring if what you are saying doesn't make too much sense. Rappers know that it is too hard to say exactly what they are trying to express, so they work with the first words that come up on their heads. And rappers also know that work extends to the time allowed for it because they literally have no time to think about the next phrase. They have to do it on the spot. You have to come up with a way to practice improvisation in your own art. If you are a painter or an actual writer, that probably means setting up a timer that will ring in 30 minutes, so you have only 3 minutes to do your thing. There are many techniques like that that can help you improvise. But you have to remember that before you improvise, you do need a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of practice. If you are a painter, you first need to know how to make a sketch. If you are a writer, you have to make the structure of your of your story first. If you're a musician, you have to practice your scales first. Now, you are probably watching this video because you are currently stuck in the middle of your art project. I know you don't really want to stop your current project to go practice improvisation. If you are currently stuck, the thing that I can advise is you need to put some kind of pressure on yourself. You need to set up a timer that will not ring in 3 months. You should ring in the next day, in the next hour, even in the next few minutes. But also remember that the timer doesn't need to tell you when you should finish your project. The timer can also tell you when you should finish only your next idea. So if you set up a timer that will ring in a minute, that doesn't mean that you need to finish your whole project in a minute. That just means that you need to keep improving to coming up with ideas. You probably won't end up with the ideas you had in mind, but you have to remember it is too hard to do exactly what is in your head, and works extend to the time allowed for it. So that was how you can deal with the writer's block. If you like this type of videos where we talk about art, subscribe. If you know more ways to deal with writer's block, leave a comment. And if you want to support this channel and me as an artist, visit my website, diegoelz.com. There you will find a book I wrote about music theory for guitar, so that you can deal with the technical type of writer's block. My name is Diego Elizondo, and I thank you for listening.